It's gonna sound silly, but when I was building this car and I was planning out the wiring and stuff, the moment I kept daydreaming about was this. Flipping power onto the car, turning the key on, waiting for the fuel pump to prime. And that. And then that. What you doing? You just look confused.
Who?
You. You looked confused. Okay, today is one of those days where we have a plethora of things to do. I also want to give you guys a rundown of what we're planning on doing with Ben's car. We talked about it and then we kind of changed the plan and we went down the rabbit hole and all of that stuff. So I want to give you guys the rundown on that because a lot of you were asking what we ended up deciding to do. I keep trying to put it in a video, but every time the video ends up being like 20 minutes and we add like 5 minutes to it. So we're just gonna put it in this one because we don't have that much to do. So my new harness came in, my other passenger harness for the Miata. And then I also got fuel pressure gauge and fuel pressure gauge fitting adapter. So this has, where is it? Let me make sure this is right. This doesn't look right. Yeah, it says it on the back. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was about to freak out. Basically just gonna thread in line with our return line and then the gauge will thread into it. I don't currently have a gauge on the Miata, so I don't know what the fuel pressure is set at, and it should be set at like stock GM 58. I'm assuming that's what Matt tuned the whole map for. So I bumped the fuel pressure up because it was running a little lean and that fixed it. So I want to set it right and see where we're at tune-wise. I left my harness inside, so I gotta grab that. But it'll be nice to have passenger harnesses. So, you know, next time someone rides with me, then I'm not putting their life in danger by not having belts. And I get to see what it looks like with all the belts in it. The door closes so fast, you always gotta like run through it. I also need to get once we do that, cruising around, check, make sure everything's good. I also need to get the GC8 in, get it up on the lift, figure out what transmission I have, and I'll kind of give you guys a rundown on what I'm planning on doing with that and where we're starting and when and all that stuff. So yeah, kind of an update video, I guess, with some Miata rips, because who doesn't love Miata rips? It's been a year building this thing. I gotta rip it as much as I can. Oh, also the other thing, Ben's throwing his inline handbrake out of the blue car into this car because he's driving this at Black Friday. I'm driving the Z. I'm waiting on part 4 to finish prepping it since I found out a bunch of stuff was broken yesterday. Check these out. I really love these harnesses. If you guys didn't see the last seat video, I just raved about these things because they are so nice. It's so worth buying nice harnesses. These are like 200 bucks. You can get them recertified. You can get them spec'd out pretty much any way you want. You really can't go wrong with them. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw them in. All right, check it out. Got the harnesses in. Look nice and snazzy. It was super easy. I already had drilled the eye bolts for the bottom lap belts to clip in. Tops just loop around the bar. Bottom I already drilled the hole. I just had to throw the eye hook in there. So super easy install. Looks really nice to have both of them in. Need to wrap up the excess, like zip tie it or something, make it look clean, but super happy with seat/harness setup in this car. It's the nicest seats and the nicest harnesses I've ever had. Ben's doing some fabric hobbling. You gotta go slow, bro.
I go slow.
Push hard and go slow. Barely pull the trigger. A little more. A little more. Like right there. I'm gonna install my fuel pressure gauge now. I did just put gas in it earlier today, which is probably a bad idea since I gotta install this fuel pressure gauge, but let's find out. Set it, and we'll go see what the air fuels are like, cruising and wide open throttle. Need my wallet in the semi-likely event that we get pulled over. Oh! That's the second time that circuit breaker's just lost connection. Well, the gauge looks good in there. The silver matches the bay, which matches the harnesses. I didn't even realize that that's what was matching when I got those harnesses. I'm like, it matches something on the car. I can't think of what it is. Obviously, it's the bay. Like I said, very easy to install. I tilted it up just a little bit so that when you're standing at eye level, you can see what it's at instead of having to like crouch down too much. Ben is finishing putting a hydro in this thing. An inline hydro at that. The best of the best. Ben never settles for less than the best of the best. How solid is it?
It's not even bolted in.
Oh, that's not solid though.
I think the plate's solid though.
No, the plate's moving. Look at it. It's not the weld I'm talking about. It's just the plate.
Yeah, it looks like the trans tunnels.
I mean, it should be okay.
Find out.
Worst case, you triangulate it down.
Yeah, pretty much. Worst case, I was thinking just welding a brace from the top down.
Yeah. While he's doing that, I'm gonna go grab the GC8. Hopefully it starts. I don't remember if I disconnected the battery, and it's definitely got some sort of drain because the wiring's jank. Let me out and go grab that and bring that thing in and get it on the lift. We've never even looked under it, so I'm kind of excited. Oh, also I ordered some T's and like reducer fittings for this car to fix the janky vacuum routing situation to the regulator and the fact that I don't have anything going from the catch can basically to the intake manifold. So I've got all the stuff for that and the brake booster hose on its way, so I can fix that. It's still set up in the I just want to go for a first drive and want these things to work configuration. Sometimes you end up leaving stuff like that for a long time because it works. It's just funny. Oh, let's see. You guys think this thing's gonna start? Like this video if you think it's not gonna start, because you probably think it's not gonna start like I do. Ow, I just hit my elbow, that hurt. Ho ho ho! Oh, battery not dead. That's what's up. Rallying. She was born for, bred for. I made one. Oh no, Ben, can you open my door?
I can't hear you.
I hate you. Comment below if you remember the first time I locked. Careless Ben strikes again. Locked myself in the car. All right, let's get this thing racked and see what it looks like underneath. This is what it looks like underneath for those of you who haven't seen. Under one of these, look at how dinky these rear axles are. It's crazy coming from the rear-wheel drive world, and they only have to take half the power. Rear suspension's interesting, pretty simple. It's McPherson, but not McPherson. It's kind of weird. Got cobwebs everywhere. Look at how long this drive shaft is too, because of how far forward the transmission is. Like the shifter is all the way back here, and then the shifter gets to the trans up here at the tail housing. That's kind of interesting. Well, you have your front axles. So the weight of the engine is past the front axle in order for you to be able to get the transverse configuration to work. I've always wondered how that worked. It's kind of interesting. A lot of forward weight, but it is low. Also, doing something even as simple as valve cover gaskets on a boxer engine would suck because there's your valve cover. And you have very little space between it and the front just because of how far forward it has to sit. It's got some sort of aftermarket like turbo manifold header. I don't know what you call it on one of these cars because it has to go a long way to get to the turbo. And then as you can see over here, turbo doesn't have any downpipe at all. That's why it sounds bad. People are like, it's kicking, it sounds bad. I'm like, it's got no exhaust, not even a downpipe, people. So I need to check these plugs going into the trans, and that will tell me if we have a WRX trans or if we have whatever comes in this car, trans. I talked to Matt, who's the one who gave me the base tune for the car, and he's going to richen it up some and send me like 2 different tunes with different amounts of fuel. We'll be able to put those on, go drive it, and see kind of where we're at air fuel wise. I need to do a few more little things like that with the Miata. I need to change the fan setup within the PMU to get the fans to turn on, because right now I think I have it set backwards, like ground instead of power or whatever. Anyway, tinkery stuff to do with the Miata. But Subaru, you guys have been asking what we're doing with the GC6. It's a GC6, not a GC8. I was wrong. It's just like when I got my JZX in Japan, I kept calling it a Chaser. and it's a Mark II. I think I call it JZX90 Mark II Chaser. When you don't know, you don't know. Anyway, so we got this thing in here. I've been inspecting, just trying to figure out kind of like where I'm at. And looking at the wiring and the way it was done, it's just bad. It's just very poorly done. There's a lot of loose ends. It really just needs to be redone. So that's what we're gonna do. iWire Services does a merge service. So basically, I'm gonna send them the chassis harness from the GC6, the engine harness for this engine, and they're going to combine the two and make them work together as if like the chassis harness was meant for this engine, if that makes sense. So I figured it's worth getting done to have like a pro merge harness so that wiring is not something I have to worry about. And while I have the wiring out and they're doing it, because it's gonna take like 4 weeks or so, I'm gonna go ahead and probably pull the engine out, do a clutch, do seals, do, you know, just like go through the engine, go through the bay, clean it all up, delete what we can. Like there's this EGR canister and there's just a bunch of stuff in here that's jank. Get the engine back in. We need to build an exhaust. I want to get the AC lines figured out. I want to go through and fix the interior. We need to do suspension. We need to do wheels. We need to do paint. So we got a lot to do, but the start is going to be ripping the harnesses out and getting them sent off. Because there's kind of like two types of wiring. Like rewiring a track car is one thing. That's pretty easy. You just, if you know how to wire a relay, a fuse, and a switch, it's just that, doing it multiple times for different circuits. But when it comes to like merging two harnesses together and getting all of the electronics to work with each other, like that's complicated. You have to really know that specific platform, that specific harness. And to me, it's not worth taking the time to figure that all out unless I was gonna be doing like 10 of them. I thought about tackling it myself, but I was just like, it's just not worthwhile. Like it's just not. So this thing, what are we doing with this hunk of junk? A lot of you have been asking. So we did go down the rabbit hole. And like I said, I've explained this in like 5 videos and I never put it in because it's too long. Now we have a semi-dedicated video to do it. So basically, I'll come over here so Ben can be part of the video. Awkward Ben standing over in the corner. Come on up here.
I'm coming.
Come on, let's get the car. Let's get the car in the background so that people can see. You don't have to stand that close. That's a little too close. You can step away just a little bit. Just that seems about right. Okay, so we totally went down the rabbit hole with this build. It started out with, okay, Ben needs a turbo, and he's like, I'm just gonna order a turbo. Turbo never showed up. So then, where did we go from there?
And then we're pretty much like where we're at now. And then
well, hold on, we can't tell them where we're at now. We gotta give them the buildup of the story and all the choices and where we ended up. So,
and then basically we thought we'd do like rebuild the turbo setup, do like a bottom out manifold, a V-band 2560.
No, you're skipping steps. You're skipping steps.
Basically redo the turbo setup and like clean it up, like redo it, different turbo, stuff like that. And then we were adding it up and we were like, we can sell all the stuff off of my car plus the money I'm gonna put into it with the new turbo kit. We could just put an LS in it for like $2,000 more than all that stuff. And then we wouldn't be limited by like the transmission and the rear end and the Miatas because they're pretty weak when you hit like 300-ish horsepower.
It was originally just going to be upgrading the turbo, and then it was for upgrading the turbo, might as well make a nice V-band bottom mount manifold, and if we're going to do that, we might as well upgrade the intercooler piping. And then because it snowballed that far, we thought about the LS. The LS does make sense. Get a drivetrain. Everything's upgraded. Your motor's upgraded, but you also have a much stouter trans and a much stouter diff, whereas doing the turbo setup, you're still limited by the power that the trans and diff can handle. Because that setup could make what?
The setup, if we put like a 2871 on it, we could make like 350-ish to the wheels, which would just like grenade everything else in my car.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a 2560 and shoot for like 270 to like 300, and hopefully everything stays together.
Basically, instead of having this tubular setup where it's the 4-bolt and whatnot, we'd be building, it's kind of like a merge between
it's like
a cast manifold.
Bottom mount, basically.
Right, yeah. It's basically a merge between like a log manifold and a tubular. It's tubular, but it's very short runners. And then it would be bottom mount V-band, which would be super easy to work on if we need to take the turbo off or do anything. It's just 1 bolt, the V-band clamp, like very simple. And that'll allow us to redo that, redo the downpipe, redo the intercooler piping and intercooler, and just kind of make everything stout. Also,
yeah, and then pretty much just like a Honda intake manifold, like from a B18, you cut the flange off, weld it to a Miata flange, and that helps like pick up a little bit more power up top. And then do a 99 motor. So hopefully we should make like right at 300 wheel and be safe.
With the 99 motor, you can do cam and crank, which allows you to do sequential fuel injection instead of batch.
Yeah.
So it's an all-around improvement. This is probably, like, I'm more excited for this than I guess the LS in a sense. I don't know. They're both exciting. Me and Ben went back and forth on this for literally like a week. We even went as far as like, oh, well, why don't you just build a Vet? I mean, at this point, for me, I'm excited about the turbo setup because like I'm gonna be the one welding it, that and the manifold. So it'll be exciting for me to kind of like learn something new, and it'll be very rewarding for us to like cut and design and figure out and make a turbo manifold that's like exactly what, you know, he wants it to be. Like, I don't know, I think that'll be fun, and it'll be challenging, and it'll be sick. Like, turbo cars are sick. I love LS's, you know, for their reliability and the simplicity, but they don't have that like excitement factor that turbo cars have with boost and wastegate noises and all of that stuff. So, and it's going to be a lot quicker.
It should be a lot quicker even if it makes the same power.
Yeah, well, quicker as in time frame wise.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we're not going to, an LS swap would realistically take us, by the time, you know, we waited to buy parts and sold parts and all of that stuff, it would take us probably like 4 to 6 months, because we'd build a whole new car. We'd build the chump car. So we'd start completely fresh and literally build a whole new car and do something with this thing. This case, putting the motor back in this car, we're just changing up the things and painting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much it'll just be like a completely new turbo setup with a 99 motor, with the Honda intake manifold, and then basically just rewire the car, put a 1.6 dash in it, because I like those better.
That's what's in my car.
That's about it. Nothing crazy. Probably like a new steering wheel and just little stuff.
Yeah, just clean up the whole thing, basically. Just go through and
just de-jank it.
De-jank it, basically. Yeah. That's kind of how this all started. It was just de-jank and turbo, and then we fell down the rabbit hole, but that's okay. Yeah.
If I could have bought it, I would have been done by now, but I couldn't buy the right turbo.
Yeah. No, he did try to buy the right turbo and not go down the rabbit hole, and he can't find one, so we fell down the rabbit hole. And now that we're down there, you can't really get back out.
Yeah.
You can't really go.
I guess I could rebuild mine, but I'm not going to do that.
No. This will be more fun. This is a turbo setup he's always wanted to build. He's always wanted to do this setup.
It's like perfect setup for a stock motor, because it should be really healthy and make good power and like spool soon.
Yeah, which is key.
Because this made like 18 pounds by like 4,000 RPM. That one should be able to make like 18 pounds by like 3,000 if we do it right.
Right.
Everything.
Assuming we don't completely fail.
Yeah, mainly based on the manifold.
I don't know. I think it'll be a fun learning experience. I think it'll be a fun series. We just did an LS Miata, so like they both have their pros and cons, you know?
It's like I like both of them equally. It's a really hard choice.
It really is.
It really is.
We're still like, he's still on the fence, and we like decided, I decided for him.
To order parts and
still don't know. I guess let us know what you guys think. Like, comment below what you think. If you're a Turbo Miata owner, like, what's your setup? How do you like it? What do you guys want to see? Do you want to see the Turbo Miata stuff? Do you want to see the LS stuff? I don't know. I guess that's pretty much it. I just really wanted to give you guys an update on everything. Miata's still got a few things left to do. Like, I'm waiting on power steering fittings. I need to build my handbrake plate and handbrake thing. What else do I need to do that thing? I need to put the rear drop knuckles on. I need to run handbrake lines. I need to build the expansion tank. A couple other little things. So as much as I wanted to wait till it was completely done to start on this car, we're gonna have to start bouncing between, because like I said, I have to wait for the harness anyway. So I wanna get that sent out and get that going, and then just do what we gotta do, basically. So you have something you wanna say?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Only thing we forgot on mine was just the front angle kit, like 1.5 inch drop knuckles, and then the drop knuckles in the rear.
He has a Danny George like old angle kit, so it's super crazy angle kit for the front, and then he's got the same destroyer die drop knuckles I have going on my car for the rear. So basically we're refreshing the whole car, just saying turbo and just doing the turbo setup way better.
Yeah, but the only thing we won't fix is the seats.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I don't even know how to fix that.
No, they're like welded to the floor. So anyway, that's pretty much going to be it for this video. Again, just want to give you guys an update. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.